I wouldn't say that I'm happy. I'm I used the other day was just like it makes the world very interesting, and that's what I like about it. Like people are
Oh,
angry. He said some crazy stuff. They don't like it, but somewhere in the middle ground, he's doing something okay, actually pretty good. But it's just surrounded by some ridiculous stuff he says and ridiculous stuff he does. But I will also say there's been lots of stuff, in my opinion, that has been conflated way too many times. Like there's this time when, um, oh, was it like those rallies? I think that was, and someone died, and I think there was like neo
oh,
Nazis there, nationalists, hardcore lefties, and just there was a melting pot of angry people, right?
yeah, right.
And unfortunately, someone died, I believe. And then when he was talking about it, he basically said something down the lines of how he condemns white supremacists, white nationalists, and Nazis. And then he continued on to say, and yes, there were some good and there were some fine people on both sides of it. So he excluded the whole Nazis, white nationalists, said, no, they need to be, you know, um, what's the word they use? Denounced all the time. And he did that. But all they do now is they said, this is what he said about a rally where there was white supremacists. There are some good people on one side and bad people on the other side. So they're
Okay.
suggesting that he was calling white nationalists or white supremacists good people. But that was without the context of the part where he just denounced them.
Right.
So, and
Well,
that's being used as an example of perpetuating a lie until people believe it. So that's an example of the things where I'm like the media. I just don't trust the media anymore, and I don't think a lot of people do. And Trump is a result of that. That's just the
yeah.
reality of it.
It's interesting that you say that because people do that with the Bible all the time. They truncate they truncate what like a Bible verse, and they're like, oh, that's so, this, like say something like wives need to submit to their husbands. And they're like, oh, that's, not equality or blah blah blah. But if you read that whole verse, it actually goes on to say how husbands are to treat their wives as well. Um, and when it says submit, I don't think it means like you just have to, you know,
Yes, master.
yeah, yeah, correct, exactly. I don't think it's saying that. I think it's just saying that as the male's the head of the household, and you know, you work together, sort of thing. But yeah, people edit, don't they? They edit
Yeah,
stuff
it's really bad. And that's what
and
I
the wrong
there's this
message.
there's there's a massive gain now. 100%. It's what I've noticed is just how much grays in the world, yet people turn it
Yes,
black and white, and
yes.
it's bad, and it's just as bad as lying, but they just manipulate things in certain ways where if
To sen-
you
to
structure
sensational.
it up, yeah, if you structure one thing one way, or if you show something out of order, they just do it all the time. And even one of the funniest things was I thought was on the back of Trump winning is that whole Russian collusion. Anyway, there were investigations after investigations after investigations. They didn't show anything. It's like, oh, we think maybe, like, think maybe isn't like, did someone do that? So
Yeah,
the media was running with it for basically the first 2 years of the Trump campaign. And I'm like, if all these government investigations have done it and haven't found anything, and you're still talking about it, technically, you were basically peddling a conspiracy theory for 2 years. Like,
mm,
it wasn't
yeah,
anything that was real, yet the mainstream media picked up on it and played it like it was the truth, but it wasn't the truth. And that's what is wrong with the world. And as much as a crazy person as Donald Trump is, like I said, he is the result of their lies, and they don't even realize it themselves.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, and I think it's only getting worse because now people can create their own, pseudo media platforms and just basically
Lots of
say
people
whatever
have.
they want to say. I just went down. I was really tired last night, and I was just going down a little YouTube rabbit Warren, which is what you do when you feel tired. And I came across, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness, like this has just gone too far. There was this dude that's created a little documentary thing on why Jennifer Aniston is such a nasty person.
It was like,
no, and it says reports say that she blah blah blah. Others say she went straight to her trailer during the filming of blah blah blah, where the rest of them were in the cafe enjoying a 1-hour lunch. Jennifer was in her trailer eating her salad. And I'm like, that's a far cry from she's a bad person.
I don't like.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just they just throw anything out now, and it's like you can't.
That's why I think, like I was saying back to the Trump thing, is he's been the perfect fodder for the media.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
they might want to decry him as much as they like, but at the same time, they love the amount of attention they can get through covering the guy. Like, people love the outrage. People are there's outrage porn, and I think it's like, well and truly, a lot of these news channels is none of them go to look and find all the amazing things that happen in the world. It's like, what's the trash of the world? Where can we find it and make people get angry and feel not safe? It's just terrible. Yeah, as that documentary.
I'm gonna be a little.
Hang on.
Yes, I'm sorry. You go.
Yeah, that documentary was showing like Childhood 2.0, how much safer the world has become. Yet we're so paranoid about how unsafe it is. It's basically an irrational fear.
Yeah, that the media projects onto society.
Outdoor phobia.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's only getting worse. But just back to what you were saying, like, I have to confess, sometimes I like a little bit of trash talk. Just a little bit. I got to admit it, man. I mean, I don't go.
That's why I don't know why you wouldn't like politics. You'd love that. You should see their little like snidey little comments to each other. It's hilarious.
Because it's too much. It's too much. Like, as I said, just a little bit. Like, sometimes just a little bit. It's a little bit funny. I just get my little dose, and then that's it. I'm like, okay.
Like a bit of like a Big Brother kind of. A
little bit. I didn't like what he had to say about Jennifer Aniston. And by the way, for the record, I don't believe any of it. And the other thing is, even if she is like that, so what? What, just because she's a movie star, she has to be this, like...
nice person.
Yeah, she doesn't have to be.
Who